Hi all, so I'm back with some more AI hints and tips, and a few weeks ago I shared a little bit around Google's Notebook LM solution, which lots of you have reached out and contacted me about, and I'm thrilled to hear you're finding it a useful solution. And we know it is an amazing solution for learning and research, but it's also a mega impressive tool for businesses, and it's now become, since the video, it's now become part of Google's Agent Spaces, which for me is a massive accelerator. This is going to rapidly increase what businesses can and can't do with AI, and I'm going to touch on a few aspects on it in this video, but I'm also going to do a dedicated video as well. In this session, I really wanted to cover some of the features that we didn't cover from Notebook LM last time, the main one being interactive mode. Now, it's probably easier as well if I just show you this rather than trying to explain it. So let's dive in to the application itself. Okay, so we go to Notebook LM and click try, and then we create a new notebook. Familiar window here to what we had before. We can add sources and upload. So let's do that. Now, what I'm going to do for this example is I'm actually going to upload my Innovation Forum quarterly report. So this is a quite a lengthy document covering kind of where we are in terms of the latest news on AI and the technology transformations, a little bit about the big players. I touch on spatial computing, robotics, practical applications, quantum, the societal impacts, the economic impacts. Quite a meaty document, 17 pages of stuff. So we're going to add that one in first and foremost, because there's quite a lot in there. So I sent this out with a Notebook LM version to my forum members just to help them process it. So it's processed that information straight away, and it's giving us the summary of what's in there. But the thing with AI is good in, good out. The more data you have, the better it can perform. So I'm going to add more sources here as well. Now you can add up to 50 sources, which is just incredible with Notebook LM. And I'm just going to put one of the research papers behind that report. So this is on spatial computing. So there's a reference to spatial computing in there, and also the agentic AI aspects, or AI's interoperability with spatial computing as well. So that's generated the two, it's processed the two source documents, provided the overview, and as last time, we can click to generate a study guide. We can have a briefing document, and we can have frequently asked questions as well. So it quickly goes away now and starts to generate those, and there we go. All three in a matter of seconds come back to us. So we can get a summary of what is a 17-page report. I think it's about a 6 or 7 page research document as well, and it gives us it in less than a page of useful information. Now, one of the questions lots of you asked is, how do you get back to it? You just click this studio button here. So click that and it'll go back to it. But for this example, we're going to go back to that podcast version and use something called interactive. But what we'll first do is we'll just click generate. I'll pause the video because it just takes a minute or two to do, and then we'll come back and we'll get into the detail. Okay, back to it. So now we have our audio file. And if we were to click this, it would just play the podcast as it did last time for us. Interestingly as well, another thing many have asked is when they went back in, the recording had disappeared. You can upload past versions, but what you'll probably tend to find it generates another one again. So what I'd probably recommend you do is use the download option to save that copy. And what I tend to do is find the sources, put the information in, and then download it to my phone, put my headphones on, and go out for a walk or go to the gym and learn. That's kind of part of my learning process. But here we have the podcast generation file, but instead of just playing it this time, we're going to use this option, interactive mode. So a little bit different in what it's going to do this time. It still gives us the context window to chat, and we can have a conversation with it if we want, but otherwise I'll let it play, and then I'm going to use this option this time to interact. It's the button here called join. It's grayed out, but when I press play it'll go to blue. I'll let the podcast start, and then I'll interrupt it with 2 or 3 questions just to give you an idea as to how it works.
Welcome to our deep dive into the future of tech.
Ooh, fun.
We're going to explore how things like AI and robotics and even spatial computing are poised to impact society, the economy, and your own work.
Big topics.
Our sources for this deep dive are a mix of... Oh, hey, welcome. What's up?
Yeah, I wonder if you could tell me, I'm just reading the reports, and I just want to know more about Ant Morse. Who is he?
That's a great question.
Yeah, let's unpack this.
Ant Morse is actually the chair of the Innovation Forum.
Okay, so he is kind of a big deal.
Definitely. Reading through his intro in the report, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I'll pause it there. I've never been referred to as a big deal before, but you get the idea. What it's doing is it's probably picking up bits from the executive summary, some of the research documentation as well. So it's giving it a view, so you can get to the bottom of who has written a particular report as well. But we'll let it play and ask it some more.
Brings together leaders from different sectors,
Sectors like
enterprises, public sectors, and even
oh, yeah,
Yeah, I've got another question, if I may. What's Ant's view on agentic AI?
That's a great question.
I can work with this.
Okay.
Based on the report, he seems cautiously optimistic.
How so?
He acknowledges the incredible progress, of course, but he stresses the importance of maintaining a line of reality.
Okay, let's unpack this.
He emphasizes that current AI, even the most advanced forms,
Yeah.
are still primarily pattern recognition and probability calculation systems.
So he's saying it's not magic.
Exactly.
He thinks there are limits.
He's saying that while AI can do amazing things,
Like what?
it still lacks true understanding, common sense, and the ability to truly create.
So what does this all mean?
I'll pause it there, and that's probably a very good description of my views of AI, and there is a little bit in that report around the practical realities of where we are in terms of narrow intelligence moving to general and super intelligence as well. So very impressive actually how it's picked that information up from what I've written. There is also some references in the spatial report as well. One final question and we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
He's advising business leaders to go for it.
Yeah, I wonder if you could tell me more about the Innovation Forum. Who are they and what do they do?
I could expand on that.
Okay, go for it.
The Innovation Forum is a group of leaders,
Leaders from where?
enterprises, public sectors, and charities.
All sectors.
Right, they get together to explore tech,
What's their goal?
to demystify complex topics,
Okay.
and make sure everyone understands these changes.
So it's about inclusion.
Exactly. They discuss tech, culture, and economics.
Sounds like a wide range.
So I'll pause it there, but hopefully you get the idea, and that was a useful session. Now, in practice, what I tend to do is listen to the podcast and then think of a few points and then interrupt it and ask a few questions at once. Now, next up, as always with this series, we want to look beyond the brochure. How does it really work? What's the kind of tech behind it? And two questions that you raised since the last video, which I'll cover off here. First one is, does it use our data to train the model? So what happens to the stuff we upload? Well, in actual fact, it doesn't use the data. What happens is that Gemini, the large language model from Google, is the power that's powering the system which is powering the podcast and generating the information. But what it does in this case, as the title suggests, is it moves from a large language model into a language model. So Notebook LM language model. And what it does is it uses something called source grounding to, in theory, create a mini language model just for you and also per instance. So every time you create a document or you upload a document or some context, it creates that language model and then uses Gemini to kind of power and spit out the outputs. But good news is it doesn't do anything with the data, so don't worry about that. Also as well, it's not its intention to do anything with the data. Google have Gemini, and you know that they'll train on data. This is really more note summary and interaction, so a different type of system. But thank you to Neil and the guys at Google who've helped answer some of these points. Much appreciated. Second question is it safe for businesses to use? Well, as we've always said on this channel, be careful what you're putting into any system, because once it's in there, it's in there. Despite or regardless of whatever promises, the best policies, if you're unsure, probably don't. But what we have here is that there is, to the start of the video, there's an enterprise version. This product is going to be amazing for businesses and it's going to grow and grow. Yes, if you wanted to use this for your organization, look at the enterprise model. It brings a degree more security to it, but also, most importantly, provides what we call VPC, virtual private cloud, so that you have your instance of it and you're not putting this out into the kind of the wild west of the internet. Now, there are costs for this model. Happy to talk through it. I'm looking at this for a couple of clients at the moment, so if you want any more information, drop me a note and we can have a chat about it. But the super important and exciting thing here is that Notebook LM is now going to be put into Google's agent space, which for me is where it's going to change everything. It is going to allow companies of any size, small businesses, large enterprises, doesn't matter, to in effect create their own company AI system. which is just it's going to change the game. It's what we've been predicting for years and years. It's finally here. Imagine being able to put this into your existing systems and platforms, and I've not seen one that it's not compatible with yet, whether it's Google Drives, SharePoint, you name it, it's in there. And you can then use the interface of Agent Space to then interact with documents, search documents, provide replies, write emails. It's pretty incredible, it really is. And of course, use Notebook LM, so it's going to be amazing. But it doesn't stop there. The really cool part is this is going to allow customers to do more than just, come on, interesting and fun generative AI applications. It's going to allow them to build their own agents. You could build agents, small agents, and multiple of them to do a number of basic, repetitive, or just to automate any tasks. I'm looking at one at the minute that will do my expenses for me. The art of the possible here is pretty incredible, and again, I think this for me is a massive step forward. So I'm going to do another video on it, but if you need any information in the meantime, give me a shout. But until then, as always, click like, share, follow, but stay interested, stay curious, but most of all, stay relevant and ahead in the future of us.